How old was David when he fell with Bathsheba? You wouldn't believe how many pastors will say 30. And I don't know why they pull that number, but they just do. But actually, he was 60. 60. And remember that the Lord was showing me these age groups, although we go through these 4 seasons all through our lives, but I do believe they can be overall age groups as well. He's entering a season of influence, and immediately Satan tries to steal his influence. And I believe he'd seen this beautiful woman before, but obviously just her face. But now he sees her naked. Let me say something about this. Why would this great man of God who wrote all these worship songs go to such an extent and fall? There's something in men that can take over if they don't keep it in check. And that is lust. You know that I love the country, and we have some land in the country where I was helicoptered from a few years ago. Josh and I were out there one time walking around, and all of a sudden 2 does, 2 deer, female deer, run like literally right by us and almost knock us over. That doesn't happen. I mean, they smell a human, they're out of there. So we actually just squatted down thinking, wow, what's happening? And then a buck comes right behind us. And we watched this buck chase these 2 does for about 10 minutes until he caught one. And I'm thinking of a good way to say this. Let me just say we saw him a few minutes later with a cigarette in his mouth, okay? But we were about 15 yards away when he did it in front of us, 15 yards from humans, okay? Here's the point. He wasn't thinking that there could be danger because something else had taken control of him. If you are a hunter, you know the best time to kill a big buck is during the rut. It's called the rut. There are 2 ruts, one in November, and then 30 days later, if the doe isn't bred, she goes back in the rut, and she puts off a scent that attracts a buck. And hunters know this is the time to kill a big buck because he's not thinking clearly. He doesn't have his warnings up. Can I just say something? Satan knows when to kill a strong man. He knows when you're not thinking clearly. And he knew David wasn't thinking clearly, and he moved in. All right? Now, let me go a little deeper into this sin. It says, when the days of her impurity were cleansed. She's on the roof bathing. There was a reason that she was on the roof bathing, because it was the end of her menstrual cycle. Ladies didn't have the protection that they have now during their menstrual cycle. And so that cleansing, that bathing was normally done on the 7th day, the last day of their cycle. And so it's a very thorough cleansing then. And that's when he saw her and brought her to his home. But according to law, he had to wait, which was God's law. I'm going to show it to you in a minute in Leviticus. I'll just read it to you. Leviticus 15:28. But if she is cleansed of her discharge, then she shall count for herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. In other words, her husband can't go into her until after that time. So here's what you may have never heard about this story. He brings her to the castle, but she says, but I'm not clean yet. And he had to wait 7 days. This was premeditated. 7 days, God gave him the opportunity to change his mind. All I'm saying is that the enemy is very crafty. You better watch out for him. Even a man who served God made a huge mistake. Even a man who wrote part of the Bible made a huge mistake.